In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
This is the No Off Days podcast. Welcome on in. We got Chris Cato here to my, what does that say, Bullfrog
Creek
Bullfrog
Brewing,
Creek,
Scott.
okay.
Down in Valrico.
Are you getting paid? Is this NIL? Are you getting NIL money for these?
Listen, the NODPOD coffers are going to be very full soon,
right,
as
very
will our
good.
fridge.
We're banking.
Just trust me.
We got BK in the booth, and I am Scott Smith. Welcome on into this week's show. The second week of CFP rankings just came out earlier this week, and I'm just going to throw a couple matchups to you.
All
and
right.
You tell me what first-round matchups are most appealing to you, or maybe where you think an upset is possible. And BK, why don't you come on in too, because I know you're going to have some thoughts on this. How about USF?
Yeah.
Getting in there in this week's rankings. So they were in at 24 in the CFP rankings, and then when they do their little bracket projections, they have them in a first-round game between the Hedges.
The Bulls and the Bulldogs.
What do you think of that little matchup? We like it?
I like it.
You think they can give them a run for their money?
I think they can. I think they match up better than, say, what would
They had Memphis in there last week taking on Georgia.
Right. And also, if they were faced, I guess, Oregon, who's 11?
11 is Miami, which we're trying to figure out at this moment.
Yeah.
You
So-
got to pick someone from the ACC, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
So,
I would
Easy
not
trip.
want to play USF if I'm anyone else at this time. I
No.
mean, they are clicking on all
Yeah.
cylinders.
Kind of a dangerous team. We got Notre Dame paying a visit to Eugene to take on Oregon in the first round.
Great matchup.
Actually, Notre Dame would host.
No.
No, or, I'm sorry, you're right. I'll shut up.
It's okay. Everything's subject to change, of course. I love that matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be a really good game. Then they have Miami visiting Lubbock, playing Texas Tech. I also think that's a great game. By the way, I love this week's projections. Like I love it. If I could bottle that up and keep it, I'd like to see all those teams. This is almost perfect to me.
It's a good-looking bracket.
It is a great-looking bracket. I don't understand, though, and maybe you guys can shed some light, how Miami, who is currently buried in the ACC standings, I think they're like 6th or 7th because they do have 2 losses in conference. There's a ton of one-loss teams ahead of them. How they are the only ACC team in. That makes no sense to me. Maybe our guest later can help shed some light on that. But what do you guys think about that? To me, it seems that they're saying Miami's going to win the ACC. I just don't know the road.
Well, I think they're following the rankings, which I would like to hear how they justify as we record this. This just came out. I haven't heard any of the justification, but look at the top 25 that the CFP just put out, and Miami is the highest-ranked ACC team, ahead of Georgia Tech, ahead of Virginia, ahead of Louisville, ahead of Pitt. So that's why they're putting Miami there. They've got them ranked highest.
Well, I get that, but again, in order to do that and only have one ACC team in, you got to win. You got to win the conference, right? So that's the only way. Now, if you give them an at-large, now the ACC is not represented, and you only have that would be 4 conference champs in there. So that to me, you have to have isn't it the 5 highest-ranked conference champs get automatic bids?
It is.
So you only have 4 here. So in that situation, to me, they're saying maybe they didn't think it through this much.
Well, I see, because I don't think in these rankings they're not supposed to project. They're supposed to say, here are who we think are the 25 best in order. And if you think Miami is better than Tech and Louisville and Virginia, then you would rank Miami ahead.
But they do project because they call these projections, by the way, CFP bracket projections, and they have obviously USF in there, who's ranked 24th. So if it was just straight down the line, like, hey, just 1 through 12, let's plug them in there and play, then I get that logic, but they're obviously suspending that for your G5 team, but they're not doing that for your conference champs. And so to me, it just doesn't make sense. I know it's going to look a lot different, but I'd love to see Miami find a way to get in. Either way, the last matchup is Texas visiting Ole Miss, another matchup that I think is going to be dynamite. So out of those 4 upsets, you guys got any upsets? Can USF spring an upset on Georgia? Can Notre Dame spring an upset on Oregon? Miami over Texas Tech, Texas over Ole Miss. I think you could have as many as 3 in that first round. I got to be honest.
I think so, too. And I think USF's at the point now where the game, maybe a couple years ago, if they were in this situation, the game may have been too big for them. I think this team's ready for it. This team has played. You've seen them, under the lights, big spotlights, national, televised. standing up and stepping up to these big games. I think this Georgia game would be dangerous for the Bulldogs.
I think Georgia is probably a 14-point favorite, and as good as USF is playing, Georgia looks like it's hit his stride now, especially on offense. And I would be shocked if that. I wouldn't count that as a probable upset. I would think, and I don't think Miami's beating Texas Tech either. Texas Tech's defense is just so good.
That was
Best
one.
in the country,
that was
probably.
one that I thought could be.
I think Notre Dame could get Oregon. Obviously, that's an 8-9, so not a huge upset. And I think Texas could beat Ole Miss the way Arch is playing now.
But Texas Tech. I mean, for Texas to get in, they essentially have to run the table, which would include wins over Georgia and over Texas A&M the rest of the way. So that's You never know. Maybe a 3-loss team does sneak in. I mean, I think that's always a possibility.
I want Vandy in there. I don't want Texas in.
Yeah, I know. Well, stay tuned. Next week's
how much do you think these will move between now and the last rankings? I mean, Texas Tech still got to play.
Teams.
So there's only one Big 12 team in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the 12 team.
Yeah.
So if just say BYU beats Texas Tech in the championship, that's going to throw a wrench in everything.
There's a wrench. Yeah.
Now you got a 2-loss Big 12 team.
Right.
That's what the Big 12 should cheer for. They should say, "Hey, Texas Tech, rest your starters.
But
let's give BYU this win. We get 2 teams in."
Well, I don't know if they would put a 2-loss Texas Tech team in. I don't know if they would do that. I think they, by the looks of this bracket, they have 5 SEC teams in. I think they are inclined to lean that way. If it's close, they're going to lean towards the SEC. And in the Big Ten, I think that's probably where you could maybe muddle it up. I think you're probably getting 1 ACC and 1 Big 12 team. Now, could another Big 10 team rise? Could a USC, could a Washington, whatever, make a case? Even Michigan potentially to get in. I think that's where you could have probably the biggest juggle. Or if Notre Dame loses down the stretch, and then that opens the door. That could add another Big 12 or an ACC team in there. But man, these are great matchups, and I could see some upsets in that.
Still don't understand the rules. It seems like each week there's a rule that they had in the rules that I never knew of. Like it's Miami slipping in there, and so I'm learning each. Whoa!
That's not a rule.
I think it's an error.
You got to have an ACC champion in there, don't you?
So they're saying they're saying that the Miami is.
Well, here's the technicality. Maybe you're about to bring this up, Brian. Sorry for interrupting.
No, go ahead.
It's the 5 highest ranked conference winners.
Yes.
So that is not an automatic bid for ACC. So if you have 2 G5 teams in different conferences, say James Madison and USF, winning their conference, and they are higher than the highest ranked ACC champ, then you could have 2 G5 teams in, and that they would get the automatic bids because they'd be ranked higher. So that's a bizarro world, but it's not. The ACC does not have an automatic bid. It's the 5 highest ranked conference champs. So we just assume that would mean the ACC. That seems like the easiest, kind of the lowest hanging fruit. But
they're saying that USF American champions would be higher ranked than what the ACC champion would be.
Not in
they're
this
not
scenario.
saying that in this projection. I'm just saying that that could happen. That could happen.
It could happen.
And then they would take the at-large Miami, which is
because a lot of the ACC teams do have out-of-conference losses. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them are sitting there with 2 losses overall and just 1 in conference play.
Right.
Like Georgia Tech, Louisville, all these.
Duke has 1 loss overall, but has lost 3 non-conference games.
Yeah. So they're not going to get an at-large.
And Cato may know this. What was Sankey talking about last week about doing away with the automatic bids? So that's kind of doing that in a sense. I mean,
yeah. Well, the SEC's never been in favor of that because they want to get in as many as possible.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know. Miami's got to be shocked seeing this.
Yeah. I just think they probably take it with a grain of salt because they know the roadmap. I mean, you got to win the ACC championship, or get 2 ACC. I mean, they could conceivably, if you had another ACC team in that wins the championship, and they get the automatic bid as one of the top 5 highest ranked conference champs, and then Miami wins out, maybe they get an at-large.
Mm-hmm.
That could potentially happen. That's what this week's rankings at least tell me, that they do look at Miami as a strong team with 2 losses. They like them, a lot. So,
and it's not a coincidence either that Pitt slipped into the rankings too. So Miami plays Pitt, in a couple weeks, that's going to bolster their
Well, they
their
do use the
resume.
back half of the rankings to often
I think so.
prop up some of the teams that are in the front half of the rankings.
Right.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and again, next week will be a whole new soap opera.
It
for
is
us
fun,
to
isn't it?
unpack. I love it. And this, to me, I would take those matchups right now. Right now, you got Alabama playing the winner of Georgia USF in the second round. Ohio State playing the winner of Notre Dame Oregon. I like kind of how it rematches these conference teams again in the second round. A&M.
You want that for your Oregon Ducks again to go have to play Ohio State again? After you saw how that happened last year.
I know. Well, I look. I'm just happy they survived last week at Iowa. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're a good team, but we'll see. I know they've had a soft regular season schedule, at least to this point. It'll be a little bit tougher down the stretch. But and then you got. I'm curious what Indiana is. Right. Like they seem legit, but then they were flirting with disaster last week against Penn State. But I wonder if all that Signetti bluster is gonna really hang once the playoffs roll around. So they're a mystery team still to me. All right, so what do we have on today's program, BK?
Today we're going to talk. How about more college football with Booger McFarland?
I think we do. Let's let the pro actually talk about it.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
He'll clear things up.
We do our thing, but yeah, he's got some. He was on the big CFP show.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. He does a great job. Okay, catching up with Booger yet again, and then at the end of the program.
How about another quiz? Y'all like these quizzes?
Scott loves them.
Yeah.
He's been
the
tearing it up.
viewers are just clamoring over these quizzes. Yeah.
We just want the AI. What is the AI opening?
Okay.
I do know you were working on one.
I was disappointed with it. They did. I'll tell you when we get to it. They just don't like your images up there.
Yeah.
I think
There's probably a
AI.
reason for that.
Yeah. Join the crowd.
So we'll do another quiz.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Fun. Sounds good. Thanks,
Thanks,
BK.
guys.
All right. If you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/NODPOD. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone, zap that QR code on the screen, head to our show page. Feel free to leave comments on our YouTube channel and a 5-star on iTunes if you feel so inclined. Please subscribe. fox13news.com/NODPOD. All right. So, Chris, I got a little game, that I've invented.
I thought that was BK's job.
It's not a game.
Okay.
So it's a way to talk about some of the hot topics in sports. But because we're going to be so college football heavy throughout the show, I figured we'd stick to mostly NFL news here.
Okie dokie.
All right. So you've heard of like a pedometer, right?
Yeah.
What is
measures
a pedometer?
Measures your steps,
Okay.
right?
We're breaking out the NODPOD pettyometer. Okay, so this is going to measure the total amount of pettiness in a particular story. So we'll give it a 1 through 5 rankings. 5 being the most petty,
The
1
Tom Petty.
being just barely petty. Yeah. And then you will also give me kind of your take on whether you think you agree with this level of pettiness. Is this the appropriate amount of pettiness, or should it have been handled a different way? All right, we ready for our first story?
I think so.
All right, let's kick it around. All right, so details around the blockbuster preseason trade of Micah Parsons from the Cowboys to the Packers are now coming to light. And apparently Jerry Jones, owner of said Cowboys, in his personal and professional distaste for the Philadelphia Eagles, included a poison pill clause that has specifically designed to keep Parsons away from the Philadelphia Eagles. So the condition states that if the Packers ever trade Parsons to any NFC East team, Green Bay would owe Dallas a 2028 first-round pick. And I think that they were, intimating that the most likely trade partner would be the Eagles. But I guess it's the entire NFC East.
Right.
So, for Jerry to include that, is that just shrewd business? Or is there a level of pettiness? And if so, where does it strike on the pettyometer?
Well, one minor correction. The report I read says that this is in place for 2 years. So after 2 years, they could trade. So pettiness maybe for 2 years. To me, this is a 1 on the, what do you call it? The pettyometer. This is a 1 because this is not unheard of. In fact, the other part of this trade, Kenny Clark, the Packers put the poison pill in place too. And the Packers tried to use the poison pill in the past when they were dealing Brett Favre.
Pepper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Packers tried to use the poison pill in the past when they were dealing Brett Favre to the Jets. And so this is not unheard of. This is probably shrewd. Of course, Jerry Jones doesn't like the Eagles, but of course they're your biggest threat in your division. And Micah Parsons has intimated that he wants to play in Philadelphia because he grew up there. I think it's a smart business move. I don't think it's petty at all. I give it a 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, say what you will about Jerry Jones, and people are quick to jump on bashing him. And maybe I'm partial because I'm still grinding through the epic Netflix series on the Cowboys, and so I'm enjoying some of that. But I think that this is shrewd business. I wouldn't really call it petty, so I'm going to give it a 1 as well. All right, story number 2. Tennessee Titans are a team in rebuild/start over mode. Reportedly at the trade deadline, when bad teams often unload some high-priced talent, the Titans owner, Amy Adams Strunk, was unwilling to even consider a trade with the New England Patriots. Why? Because of how the fallout happened between Strunk and current Pats head coach Mike Vrabel after the Titans fired him in 2023. On a pettyometer scale, 1 through 5, where does this one strike there, Chris?
I'll give this a 2.
Okay.
On the pettyometer. First of all, because there are conflicting reports that this is even a thing.
I want you to just make believe that what I told you is true.
Okay.
Stop punching holes through my setup.
If this is true, then it's pretty darn petty. I'd say a 4 on the pettyometer. Because if the Patriots have someone, Titans, because your team is garbage, by the way, if the Patriots have players that could help you build a better roster, then why would you have this silly policy?
And conceivably, Vrabel knows that roster, for the most part. So there are probably guys that would love to play for him,
right?
And that he would like to work with yet again. So I'm assuming, I know that there are some conflicting reports saying that maybe there was no trade ever even bantied about, and so that opportunity never presented itself. But if that is true, I think that is petty. I'm going to give it probably like a 3, 2.5, 3, because I think that, first of all, why would you want to strengthen the other side, with such personal ties? I don't know. There might be some stuff behind how the fallout went that we don't know. And maybe she has every right to say, look, I'm not trying to give you a star player. But at the same time, I also understand that the Titans, they're in a situation where, you ought to just make whatever deal you can with whatever dance partner you can find. All right. So those a little slow out of the gates. Maybe this one will pick it up. Fired LSU coach Brian Kelly is suing the university for his entire $54 million buyout after the school says it is now attempting to terminate Kelly with cause so as to not have to pay the entire buyout. Kelly claims both publicly and privately that they presented the case to him that they were not going to seek to terminate with cause. They were saying that it was performance related, but since they have come back to say that they are doing it with cause. So now, technically, you do have to notify in advance in order to seek termination with cause. LSU, however, saying that Kelly wasn't officially terminated yet, and that even though outgoing AD Scott Woodward notified him of the termination, the university says that Woodward did not have the authority to do so. So it sounds like they're just trying to get out of paying $54 million to Brian Kelly, and now after the fact they're going back and they're trying to dig something up and say, hey, we're doing it with cause, but they never said that to him at the time to his face, and certainly public comments.
Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5, right? I mean, if this is the case that LSU is now going back and saying, oh, by the way, we're going to fire you with cause so that we don't have to pay your $54 million. I'm sorry, that's the deal you made with the guy. That's what the contract states. And according to Kelly, his people have filed a lawsuit. They had a 48-page lawsuit filed right after, as we tape this, filed today. You don't just sit down and hammer out a 48-page lawsuit real quick. They knew, I think, this was coming from LSU. They had this lawsuit in the holster ready to go, and that lawsuit points out that you terminated Kelly because of what it says, performance on the field. Performance on the field, wins, losses, that's not cause. So this looks bad for LSU. This has become a clown show in Baton Rouge, and if I'm any of these coaches that are looking, this should be one of the best jobs in the country, one of the most attractive landing spots, but who's running it? I mean, it seems like the governor, Jeff Landry, is making the decisions here. They're now saying, oh, Scott Woodward didn't fire him because he wasn't in authority at the time. Well, who did fire him? Was it the governor? This is a bad look for LSU, and I think this is
currently the interim AD was also in the room, so there was other representatives.
But it's still, even with that, this is not what you want to do if you're trying to attract a Dan Lanning or name the names we've heard, an Urban Meyer. Would you want to walk into that as one of these coaches where you could have your pick of other jobs?
Right. Yeah. Well, for one, they're going to say, yeah, we'll do that. We'll agree to those buyout terms, but then then you're looking back and seeing what they're doing to Brian Kelly. And who knows what that next story is going to be? Like, if there is cause, if they're making a case with cause, what kind of allegations are going to come up? Because that stuff would eventually become public as well if they don't end up getting it, or if he ends up settling for some reason because there is some cause that they've been able to bring up. So yeah, I think it's a bad look. It's really petty. The only reason it wouldn't be is if there legitimately is cause, but there is still a problem in that you have to notify of that at the point of termination. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 on the petty scale, because I think that the whole he wasn't technically fired yet line is just, it doesn't carry any water. If your boss brings you into his office and says, all right, it's time to let you go, but the GM never signed off, and you never the proper people ahead of them didn't sign off, but for all intents and purposes, you're out the door.
You're not on the sidelines in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, coaching your team, so
you're fired. Right? Yeah, absolutely. All right, our final petty story. Dolphins ended a 3-year losing streak to the Buffalo Bills last weekend, and following the Fins' win, head coach Mike McDaniel was spotted, or at least we think he was spotted, cruising past a Fort Lauderdale watering hole called the Elbow Room. It's a known Bills bar, and the Bills fans are just piling out and into the streets at this place. McDaniel proceeded to do a drive-by trolling of Bills fans. A photo was seen and surfaced out of this little engagement. When later asked about it by reporters, McDaniel sheepishly suggested that it would be potentially AI, but he also admitted that he lives in the area, so answering the question by not answering the question. 1 out of 5, Chris.
I like it. I will say it's petty, and this is McDaniel's brand. I think it's a 4 out of 5. It's what he does. I mean, I'm not shocked that he would. I see the picture here. I thought he might have a driver, and he's in the back of the limo, Grey Poupon commercial, but no, he's leaning his head out of this. It looks like a sweet matte black Mercedes or something, jabbering at this Bills fan. It's funny. I think it's probably a 4, especially as bad as the Dolphins really are. I mean, come on, you're not really in a position to talk. I know the Bills are a huge rival, and you're proud that you just beat them. One of the more shocking results of the NFL season so far, but that's pretty petty.
I think it's supremely petty. I'm giving it like a 6 out of 5, and but I love it. I absolutely love it, because this is like a fun petty. This is like petty about the right things, and to me, this is almost like if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm saying, wait, let's pause the whole let's fire Mike McDaniel thing, because I love this so much. I love that my coach, on his own time, in his own personal car, drove out of his way to go rub it in the nose of Bills fans at a known watering hole there in town. I love that. Like, that to me says something. And he didn't bring, he wasn't selfieing as he was driving. Like, he was just spotted. And I don't know. To me, that shows like he's got a passion. He loves it. And I don't know. I would back off the whole fire McDaniels if I was in that group after hearing this. I want a coach that's going to do that. I like that level of pettiness.
You like the trolling. Okay.
I do.
All right.
I really do.
I like it too.
All right. Okay. That was the Pettiometer. Probably won't return. But you know who will return? A friend of the show. We got Booger McFarland coming up on the other side. ESPN college football analyst is going to break down this week's CFP rankings on the other side. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. Off the top of the show, we started to kick around some of the college football talking points as we are heading down the final stretch. Just a few weeks left in the regular season, but those latest college football rankings, we did our best to try to kind of get our mind around it, but there's still plenty of meat left on that bone. And for that, let's welcome in this week's guest, one Booger McFarland. So do you have any differences in how you would stack or slot some of these teams, maybe teams that are just on the outskirts or those teams that are in the top 4 that have buys? Would you change any of that?
No, not really. It's only the second one. There's nothing I would change right now. I think, this week they moved Texas Tech in front of Ole Miss. Not sure I'd have done that, but I really don't have a problem with it. Notre Dame is still 4 or 5 spots above Miami, but Miami is above Louisville, so you got kind of that back and forth. Utah is the one that seems a little high. I think they're getting a little bit of respect based on who they are as a program and based on what Kyle Whittingham has done. But other than that, like nothing really where I'm willing to stand on the mountaintop and beat my chest and say they got this wrong.
So a couple of interesting things that I thought came out of that, but let's start in the SEC. Let's say Texas loses this week against Georgia, wins out, so win against Arkansas, and then maybe they beat an undefeated A&M team. Do you think a 3-loss Texas team deserves a spot in the playoffs? Could you see a 5-bid league that includes a 3-loss team?
Yeah, I could see that, but it would depend on what else is going on around it. I think if Texas wins out, Texas controls their own fate. I think if you lose to Georgia, beat A&M, you'll get a bump for beating A&M. But we got to see what else goes on. What goes on with the Group of 5? What goes on in the ACC? I think all those are going to be factors. What goes on with Notre Dame? Because if Notre Dame wins out, Notre Dame is getting a spot. So if Notre Dame stumbles against Pitt this week, probably takes them out maybe as a 3-loss team. So in a vacuum, you can't really say Texas is a 3-loss team, whether or not they're getting in or not, or do they deserve it. It's like the playoff. Anytime you're looking at a landscape of 12 teams, these teams are going to be based and kind of pitted against each other. So you kind of really have to see what other teams do during the cycle.
Sure. It looks like they have, and again, to your point early, right? So Big Ten, SEC champs, and the runners up, potentially both getting buys. If that's the case, what is the significance really of the championship games? And could you see if that kind of is what we're looking at the last week of the season, where they maybe rest some of their starters and maybe that the conference championships don't carry as much incentive because you have that bye either way?
Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get to that point, because I think when you make a conference championship, SEC, Big Ten, ACC, I think you're trying to win it. I think there's only one national championship, but there's several conference championships, especially when you talk about the Power Four. Like, those are big. And so I think overall, we're not going to get to a point where anybody's going to rest anybody. I don't think we're to that point. I think even if a team, quote unquote, had clinched this playoff spot and they're playing in a championship game, you're still trying to win it. Like, you're not going out there saying we're going to just forfeit an SEC title or forfeit a Big Ten title. Those still matter, man, because if you think your conference is the toughest conference in the country, then you want to win it. So I don't think we're anywhere near that.
All right, to the head scratching ACC now. So we're trying to make sense of Miami at the 11 seed and being then the only ACC team in the projected bracket. I mean, there's such a small chance that they win the ACC. So how conceivable is it that we maybe have such an ugly ACC champ to where they're only getting an at-large bid, and you see Miami make it even without winning the ACC championship?
There's that possibility. There's also a scenario where if Duke wins the ACC gets left out in general, because the rules talk about, if I'm not mistaken, the 5 highest-ranked conference champs. Well, you got to look at if James Madison only has 1 loss in their conference. You look at USF getting in. Now you got the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. ACC might get left out if Duke wins it. Like, there's a scenario in there, and Reese talked about it last night on the broadcast, where if Duke won the conference, then the ACC gets 0 bids. So I think there's so much on the table right now as we move into week 3 of the rankings next week. I think this is going to be a year unlike any other, because we came into the playoffs saying that, hey, the playoff is going to water down the regular season. Well, it's done anything but that, in my opinion. I think what it's done is magnified, because not only are you fighting for buys, you're fighting for home, because if you can't get the bye, the next best thing is the home game. And now I'm not even so sure some people wouldn't want the home game over the bye, because the home game in the college atmosphere, based on what we've seen, more revenue for your school. And then you want to be the higher seed also, because if you look at this, like a 5 seed is a pretty good seed because 5 gets 12. So you're going to get the 5 gets the group of 5. So even though you don't get a bye, you're not getting a bye, but you're getting the lowest team that may not even be ranked in the top 25 based on the first week of the rankings. So personally, I think even though the 5 is not a bye, it's just as good. So there's a lot to play for in these coming weeks, the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. To your point, when Reese made that comment about the top 5 conference championships getting in, and potentially that means not, a Power 4 doesn't, that was like a head scratch moment, like record scratch, right? Like you're like, wait a minute, I never conceived of a world in which a Power 4 team is lower ranked than like a Sun Belt champ or something like that. But I guess there is a slim possibility that you get maybe like a James Madison and then the American Conference champ being maybe USF.
There's a if like the best case scenario for the ACC is, I think, for Georgia Tech to win out, for Miami to win out, and those 2 teams get in based on that. If Georgia Tech wins out, that means they beat Georgia. I think regardless of what happens in Charlotte, if they beat Georgia, I think they're getting in. I think if Miami is 10-2, they're going to be. It may be a toss-up between them and Notre Dame. And Miami won the head-to-head, and so I think at that point, Miami would probably get in. So I think the ACC, even though they're not in great shape, they probably still feel really good about where they are.
We will take a quick timeout with Boog, and coming up on the other side, we'll dive more into, well, the LSU job and what's out there, and maybe who he thinks is a good candidate to take over in Baton Rouge. Stick with us. The NODPOD's back after this. During the commercial break, did any college football coaches get fired, Chris?
Let me check real quick. Looking at, nope, he's still safe.
It's happening at a precipitous rate. But for more on our discussion with ESPN college football analyst, let's jump into it with Booger McFarland.
When it comes to that G5 team, and obviously the inside lane seems to be USF's right now, kind of a 2-parter. So, like, how remarkable is it that USF is that team that has a seat at the table? We've seen some of the lean years prior to Alex Golesh. But not only that, but do they have a puncher's chance in that 5-12 matchup if they draw? I mean, who is the most favorable draw? Is it a Georgia? Is it a Tech? Is it Bama? I mean, it seems like it's probably one of those teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably feel better if I were them against Texas Tech than Bama or Georgia. But I mean, Alex Golesh is a really good coach. He seems to be a highly coveted name during this cycle based on what the insiders are reporting. A lot of people are throwing his name around. USF plays a different style of football that will be a challenge. It's up tempo. It's high pace. It's fast. There'll be a challenge, man. And they got a lot of team speed. They got a lot of athletes. It'll come down to the quarterback. We know he's athletic. But how many explosive plays can you make in the passing game? I think, but we're way ahead of ourselves. I think if you're Alex Golesh, you'll gladly take if you're number 12, you'll gladly take the 5-12 matchup, whoever the 5 is. Whether the 5 is Bama, Georgia, Texas Tech, whoever it is, you gladly take the 5-12 matchup. And if you got to go to Tuscaloosa or go to Texas Tech, roll the ball out there and let's see what happens.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Golesh as a name that's circulating. I want to talk real quickly about the vacancies out there. I mean, I would assume that you think LSU is probably the best of the. How do you think this current kind of litigation playing out between the school and Brian Kelly, is it a black eye on the job in any way?
None at all. I think anytime you deal with people getting hired and fired, they're always going to be lawyers. That's being handled by somebody else other than the football people. That's totally separate.
How about the Florida job? Who do you think the best fit is in Gainesville?
Everybody wants to talk about fit. Like Florida needs every one of these schools now, especially that have to figure out what best fits in their culture. Florida has traditionally been a guy, like they want an offensive guy. They want to score points in Gainesville because they still harken back to the Steve Spurrier days. So they want offense. They want exciting. They want high scoring. That's kind of seems to be what they're looking for. So, like, you find all your offensive guys out there, whoever those guys that will be fit. Everybody, Lane Kiffin can't coach 12 schools. So everybody's trying to get Lane as a coach. He seems to be the hot name this cycle. So John Summerall's another guy. Like, it's a bunch of guys out there. I think Strickland's the AD, right? Is that who it is? Strickland?
Yeah.
He and all the money people better figure out what they want, because it's becoming very, very costly to hire and fire these coaches.
And finally, do you think any of the fired coaches in this cycle get opportunities in this cycle? Because like a James Franklin, who many people thought should not have been fired at Penn State, could you see him or any of these guys getting second chances this year with a big program?
Yeah, I think James Franklin will get a look for sure. I think where I'm not sure. Hugh Freeze, Brian Kelly, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but I think the one you would hang your hat on would be James Franklin. I think some of them will work. I think Sam Pittman will be an offensive line coach somewhere because he's really good at that. So there's some specific fits out there that I think will happen. But I think Franklin will be the one. I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a job by the time we got the early signing period.
Yeah, good stuff. Best time of year. Booger, appreciate your time, man.
Anytime. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, buddy.
Always fun to catch up with him, whether on the golf course or not on the golf course, right? Coming up next, BK's got a new game. He has not given it a name title, but I think it has something to do with logos.
Oh, really?
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble.
Another quiz.
Yeah, NODPOD's back up. Well, there are no whiteboards here, so that is a good sign. I feel already better about my chances this week as we enter our fun block. It is our final block, and for that, let's bring in Mr. Fun, Brian King, here on the NODPOD. BK, we got another game, a new one. Do we have a title?
It's Logotomy. It's like a lobotomy, but it's a logotomy.
Is it like the pediometer?
Oh, my gosh.
It's something like that. It's
a logotomy?
Skull gave me the name. Yeah.
Logotomy.
Logotomy. There you go.
Okay.
Logotomy. Skull gave me the name, and I said, yeah, it's pretty good.
Right.
I didn't even try to say it. Logotomy.
Is that,
I think that's like an Italian car, a logotomy.
oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Let's go
Logotomy.
fast.
Yeah.
So I did this normal thing with AI, trying to get your a quick open for it. They do not like your images. I do not know why. And so,
Well, do they like other people's images? Is it?
well, apparently,
should we be
because they said
offended?
maybe these guys should be the hosts of this show, Logotomy or whatever. And so, I tried my best. They kind of resemble you, but we came up with a couple. I've gotten two opens. You tell me which one you like best, okay?
Okay.
So here's the first one. You can see they don't look like you. And
The bigger guy,
Wait, did you-
who I presume to be Scott, just pulled my
No, that's
brain
you.
out. Or is that
I
me?
think I'm the one that's
Cato.
I'm the one that had the brain ripped out, right?
I think so.
You should be taller than me, though.
See, it's
Well, either way, someone got their brain ripped out. I like it.
I look like Alex Golish right there. Do I not? Look.
you do.
little bit,
Yeah.
little bit.
a little bit.
And I look like a poor man's Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know why you fell down after.
Why did
After
I
my
fall?
brain?
It was
No,
a
yeah.
difficult
It's
brain
a
toss.
heavy brain.
It's
Yeah,
a big brain.
I'll take
though.
that as a
I like
compliment.
the action. Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
Okay. And
Okay.
you said there's
another
one
one.
that we left on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, it's the other one right here. Big brain with wings.
And hits it like a volleyball, and then shows off his tie. This AI is just messing with us now.
I'm still tracking it, though, which is pretty,
Yeah,
for me to be able to locate where the brain is flying as it was ripped out of my head.
still have motor
Without a
skills.
brain, you
Hey,
did
come
that.
on.
Yeah.
Although I'm not really sure who's who in this.
I'd have no. They're neither
Yeah.
one of us. Or
They
them.
look like a little bit of both of us.
They do
both
look.
of them do.
I would say they look better than us.
I have to work on it. I have to get you guys in it better. Like the first one with you on the mountain was perfect, and
It
now
was.
this one, it's just come on,
We're
guys.
getting more
Sorry.
handsome as time goes on. I like it.
The suits look good too.
Yeah,
those are
sharp.
Italian
We should
for
go
sure.
shopping. Ask
Yeah,
them
I
where
know.
they shop.
So anyway, this game,
Yes, sorry.
back to this game. What I did, sports logos, team logos, everybody knows them. You know all these logos. What I did was take a little part of this logo out, right? So that's all you see, and you try to tell me what this logo is, okay?
That would be the logotomy. I got
The
it.
logotomy,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so let's roll the first one. Simple. Just a little football. What logo is that a part of?
Bucks.
Scott says Bucks.
Is it Bucks?
Roll it.
I agree.
It is actually the Bucks. Good
Yeah.
job. See how easy this is?
Okay, good.
Now, are these all NFL?
No.
Okay.
These are going to be mixed up. Let's do a next one. This is what?
Titans or Texans.
Scott, good job, man. Scott's studied.
I'm not going to talk until he misses one. If he misses one, I'll jump in.
There you go, Texans.
Did you know that?
Of course I did.
Okay, all right.
All right, they'll get a little bit tougher. Let's go next one. What is that? It's a little.
Oh, Boston Celtics. It's the little cane that the
Oh.
How
leprechauns
did you get that?
leaning on the parquet floor. I
Let's
don't
roll
do a
it.
good leprechaun
Look
voice.
at that.
Good.
Cato, man, y'all are.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
I thought that would.
I've never even noticed that he was leaning on a cane.
I did, and I said, how could he play basketball so well, walk with a limp?
Yeah.
And with a pipe.
Look out for him in the post, man.
All right, next one. Man, y'all are sweeping me. What is that one?
Is that
Oh.
TCU? It's purplish. Is that East Carolina? Maybe the pirate hat? I don't know. It looks purple to me.
It does look purple to me. I have no idea, though. I like your East Carolina answer. Let's go with that one.
Let's see the answer. Boom. Vikings.
Oh, I almost.
Vikings.
Ew, yes, his little trim on the bottom of his helmet.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, you did get us there.
How about one more here? Let's see what this one is.
Yeah.
What is that?
Iowa
Oh, that's the
Hawkeyes.
Iowa Hawkeye.
Dang gum, man.
It's the literal Hawkeye. That's all
Yeah.
you showed us. His eyeball.
Well, I know.
and his
jowl.
his cheek flap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said if you turn that logo up sideways, it looks like Fred Flintstone. Like if you turned it kind of counterclockwise.
Well,
The,
You're
yeah,
gonna have to do that for us.
I will.
'cause
I will
I'm
next
gonna
time.
need a lobotomy in order to. You should have just left the little R, the little trademark R.
Oh, there you go.
And then-
Yeah.
Rutgers.
Okay. How about next one? Have we got
Yes.
a couple more?
Yeah.
What is that one?
That is the Canadians.
Scott, man.
That's a good Scott. I would not have
Dang,
gotten that one.
man. Look at
That
that.
was very good.
The Habs. That's your Habs, right?
The Habs and Have-Nots.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
Let's do another one. I got to stump you both on one.
Tigers.
Roll it. Dang it.
Why would you think you could stump Scott on
I
the
don't-
Tigers?
because I didn't
I think I could have gotten any part of that D. Like honestly, I spent my childhood drawing that logo on everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's kind of intricate.
it is. I could whip one up for you right now.
Yeah,
if you
tattoo.
Want. The
Could I get a tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get off
right
the
here,
old.
right on my lower back.
Dang. Y'all did awesome on that. I thought.
Did I beat Cato?
No, yes, you probably did, but I was just letting you roll. You were flowing there. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have gotten Tigers. I definitely would have not have gotten.
You would have gotten
I would've-
Tigers.
I probably would
Tigers?
have.
Yeah.
I probably would have.
That
I
was
wouldn't have
most
gotten Habs. I wouldn't have gotten Habs. That was a good one, and something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're gonna
That
have
was
to.
a fun little game. Again, apologies to our audio audience. You're gonna have to watch it. You know,
That's what we're trying to do.
fox13news.com/nodpod.
Yeah, YouTube.
Some people don't know that we have video versions of this.
We do.
Also, we have a lot of people that think that they watch the podcast every week, and they say, you know, I love the podcast,
do.
but I think they're only watching the 4:00 news.
Yes, and to those people, I say thank you for watching the 4:00 news.
But they'll never see this because they don't watch the full show. They just watch the little 2-minute snippet that we pull out to promote.
Well, the reason we do that is to get them to watch the whole thing.
I know. We gotta tell them though. It's sometimes.
Sometimes I don't
Yeah.
sell it well, do I?
Yeah.
No, you do. You do a great job,
That's
Cato.
right.
All right. Very good.
guys.
All right. Thanks, BK. Another fun show. Another great AI animation, too. Much thanks to our guest this week, Booger McFarland, breaking it all down for us, giving us some greater insights. What's the biggest game this week? What, Georgia, Texas?
Yeah, probably so.
All right. I'm about to get on a plane and go out to Oregon to get rained on. It's going to be freezing rain against Minnesota.
Minnesota. You should see a win, though.
that game
That's
is
nice.
going to be right here on Fox 13.
Don't forget Bama, Oklahoma. That's a big one this weekend.
That is
too.
huge.
That could be.
That's a huge one as well.
Yep.
All right. Yeah,
Roll
YouTube
Tide.
TV needs to figure their thing out.
All right. I know.
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
I know. It's the biggest story in sports. Anyway.
And we haven't talked about it.
I know. Next week,
Yeah.
when they get it figured out. Much thanks to our crew here at NODPOD headquarters. We got Sean over here on the jib, making those shots look all pretty and
Great
stuff.
job, Sean.
Chris with the K on the ones and twos for BK in the booth. And Chris, I'm Scott. Until the next time we're on, there are no off days.
Never an off day.